Hello everyone and welcome to my channel, Cooking for the Family. I'm Dyvonne and today I'm going to share with you how to make these wonderful chocolate chip cookies. This is a recipe that's been around my family for years and I'm going to share with you how to make these perfect chocolate chip cookies. You ready? Let's get started. So first what we're going to do is we're going to have some nice softened butter, and we're going to be using 1 cup of softened butter, and that's going to be 2 sticks. We're going to be using salted butter, okay? So in this recipe you want to use salted butter. Now I have been baking these cookies for over 30 years, and these were the cookies that I baked for my husband when we first started dating. And well, we've been married for over 27 years now. So once you have your butter in your mixing bowl, you want to go on and mix it just a little bit, just so that way the butter just kind of starts to blend. Then what we're going to do is we're going to then put in our sugar, and we're going to be using equal parts light brown sugar as well as granulated sugar. And we're using 3/4 of a cup of light brown sugar and 3/4 of a cup of granulated sugar. Now in the description box below, I will have a list of the ingredients to make these perfect chocolate chip cookies. But what I'm sharing with you today is how to take those ingredients and put them together to make the very best chocolate chip cookies for your friends, for your family, or for that special someone. And I am baking these cookies today for Father's Day for my husband. So I thought this would be a great time to share this recipe with all of you. So now that we have our light brown sugar, granulated sugar, and butter blending well, and it's going to look like this, how it's nice, blended well, looks a little whipped. That's what you want it to look like. Next, we're going to put in our eggs, and I'm using eggs at room temperature. We're going to be using 1 egg and 1 egg yolk. Go on and add that to the butter sugar mixture, just like that. You want to let it blend for a bit, and then you also want to go on and stop your mixer and scrape down the sides. And what's going to start to happen is when you turn your mixer back on, you're going to notice that the base that we're creating for our chocolate chip cookies is going to go from like a grainy texture to start to smooth, and you're going to have a little bit of a smoother texture, more so than the grainy texture that we start off with. That is great because that means that our eggs, our butter, and our sugar are all starting to blend together well, and that's what you want to have happen, and that's what you want to look for in your bowl. Next, we're going to add our vanilla extract, and always be sure to shake your vanilla extract before you're using it in your recipe, because sometimes the extract can kind of settle at the bottom, so be sure to shake it really well. And we're going to be using 1.5 teaspoons of vanilla extract. Next, we're going to put a little milk in our batter, and we're going to be putting in 2 tablespoons of milk. You can use either whole milk or either 2% milk. Either one of those work just fine in the recipe. Today I'm using 2% milk. Now once you put your milk in your bowl, go on and turn your mixer on just slightly, just to kind of mix the milk in with the other ingredients. Now in a separate bowl, we're going to put in our dry ingredients. We're putting in 2 cups of all-purpose unbleached flour and 1/2 cup of all-purpose unbleached flour. Then to that I added 1 teaspoon of salt and then 1 teaspoon of baking soda. Once you have those dry ingredients in your bowl, go on and give it a nice stir. And then we're going to go on and turn our mixer back on low, and we're going to gradually add in our dry ingredients that we have there. Now, when I first started making these cookies, I did not have a stand mixer, of course. So what I would do is you want to go on and you're going to be using a wire whisk, and you want to use the metal one. You're going to have just more durability with the metal wire whisk. So I would take my big mixing bowl with the softened butter and my wire whisk, and I would just hand whip the butter till it was nice and soft. Then I would add the sugars in, whip those. Then I would add in the egg and the egg yolk, whip that. Add in the vanilla extract, I would whip that, and then once I had that nice and whipped, I would go on and add the milk, and I would continue to whip that. And so then in my separate bowl, just like I did now, I go on and I would add my dry ingredients, and then I would scoop my dry ingredients by cupfuls into those wet ingredients, and I would go on, and instead of using the wire whisk, then I would start using my spatula. And so either I would use a spatula or either a big spoon, but I would go on and do that and mix it until you get this consistency and you've got your nice dough, okay? And so now that we have our dough, next what we're gonna do is we're gonna add in our semi-sweet chocolate chips, and this is 1.5 cups of semi-sweet chocolate chips. When it comes to my chocolate chips, I like to use either Ghirardelli or either Goddard's, or either Costco has a wonderful brand of chocolate chips that I like to use. Those are the three that I find really work best and are good quality chocolate chips for your chocolate chip cookies. So your dough is going to look just like this. It should be nice and stiff. And I'm going to divide the dough. I'm going to put about 1/3 of the dough in my bowl over here to the side, because that bowl I'm going to add some pecans to that one. And so I'm going to have some without pecans and some with pecans. Now, if you are new to my channel, welcome in. And if you're a returner, welcome back. I am so glad you joined me today in my kitchen. I thank all of you for your likes, your shares, your subscribes, your good vibe comments. I truly appreciate all of you. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, I invite you to hit that subscribe button. It is free. And on my channel, I share with you what I like to cook and bake for my family in my kitchen. So once we have our pecans in there, and I kind of eyeball it, you can put, for about 1/3 of the dough, I'm using about 1 cup of pecans. And I just, most of them are whole pecans because I like those nice whole pieces, but you can definitely use chopped pecans. The pecans are optional and you can use as much or as little as your taste allows. Next, we're going to take our dough, once we have it covered with our plastic wrap, and we're going to put it in the refrigerator, and we're going to refrigerate our dough for 2 hours. However, it's best to refrigerate the dough for several hours or either overnight if time allows. So our dough has been in the refrigerator for a few hours now. Our dough has become nice and firm, so our butter has firmed up, and that's exactly what you want to have happen, because when we go to bake our cookies, they will spread gradually and maintain their structure a lot better once you have them in the refrigerator and they've been refrigerated for those hours. Now for my scooper for my cookies, I'm using a scooper that's about 2 tablespoons. So you could get equivalent to 2 tablespoons in this one scooper that I'm using. I level it off, but not all the way. I leave like a little bit of the dough hanging out at the bottom. And you want to space your cookies out 1.5 inches to about 2 inches apart. And you're gonna get about 2 dozen to about 3 dozen cookies from this dough, depending on the size that you're going to be using for your scooper. Also, I have my oven preheating on 375 degrees, and I bake my cookies. I use 2 racks in my oven, and I put the racks in the middle position of my oven. And our cookies are going to bake anywhere from 11 minutes up to 15 minutes, give or take, depending on your oven. I go on and make the second round of the chocolate chip cookies without pecans. I'll place them in the oven with the first batch, and they will also bake that 11 up to 15 minutes. Now our first batch of cookies is out of the oven. I have my cooling rack, and with the cookies, what you're looking for is around the edges, it's going to be a golden brown, and the edges are going to be set. In the center, it's still going to be a little bit soft, but not gooey. You do not want the centers to be gooey. Now, if it has baked for the 15 minutes, let your cookies sit on the cookie sheet for an additional 3 to 5 minutes until the center is not gooey. It can be moist looking, but you do not want it to be gooey because that means that it's undercooked, and you do want that center to be cooked for your cookies. And so the center of your cookie should have a sheen to the center, but not a wet look to the center. Well, these are our cookies right here. They have baked up so nicely. Look at the undercarriage. These are our chocolate chip cookies without pecans. Do you have a glass of milk ready? Because we are about to try our cookies. Go on and take your bite. That bite right there is for you. Let me give it a try. These are so good, y'all. Wow, these chocolate chip cookies are nice and soft. They've got that nice crispy edge, but we are not done yet, y'all. We have got to try our chocolate chip cookies with the pecans, and you can use pecans or either walnuts. Pecans are my favorite, but look at our cookie. It looks so good. It looks amazing. Go on and take a bite. Okay, I'm gonna try it. Y'all, these cookies come out so perfect. This recipe has stood the test of time. Oh my gosh. Well, happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there. Happy Father's Day to my wonderful, awesome husband. And happy Father's Day to my father who is gone but not forgotten. He lives on in our hearts. We love him and we appreciate all the wonderful things that he taught us and did for us as a wonderful, loving father. Well, that is it for me today, y'all. If you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, go on and hit that subscribe button. If you like this video and appreciate the content, don't forget to show it some love. Give it a thumbs up. Click share. Share this video with a friend or family. And remember, it's always good when Dyvonne is cooking for the family. I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye, everybody.